Thank you so much for joining us this morning for the monthly employment data release media call. My name is Kara Lefkowitz, and I serve as press secretary for the Florida Department of Commerce. Joining me here today is Jimmy Heckman, Bureau Chief for Workforce Statistics and Economic Research. At the conclusion of this presentation, we will be taking questions from credentialed media. To ask a question, please submit it through the Teams chat, since we will not be able to accept questions through a private chat. We will address as many questions as possible, but if your question is not covered, please email media@commercefl.gov, and our team will work to get you an answer. Today's presentation is focused on employment data for November 2023. If you have questions regarding other Florida Commerce topics, also use the media@commerce.fl.gov to connect with our communications and external affairs team. I will now turn it over to Jimmy.
Thank you, Kara, and good morning, and thanks for joining us today, everybody. At 10 o'clock this morning, the Florida Department of Commerce released November 2023 labor statistics for the state of Florida, as well as its sub-state areas, including all metropolitan areas, counties, and large cities. These data were produced by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics through a federal-state cooperative agreement with FloridaCommerce. These data were collected through a combination of employer and household surveys, administrative records, and statistical modeling techniques. Florida's unemployment rate, total labor force, and labor force participation rate are published under the Local Area Unemployment Statistics Program using information collected through the current population survey. These statistics are based on a survey of households, and they capture information about individuals as opposed to jobs, and they are calculated by place of residence as opposed to place of work. Florida's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate for November 2023 was 2.9%, up 0.1 of a percentage point from the October 2023 rate, and up 0.2 of a percentage point from November of last year. The national unemployment rate was 3.7%, a decrease of 0.2 of a percentage point from the previous month. Florida's unemployment rate is 0.8 lower than the national rate and has now remained lower for 37 consecutive months since November of 2020. Miami-Dade County had the state's lowest unemployment rate at 1.4%, followed by Monroe County at 1.9%, and Okaloosa, St. Johns, and Wapella counties at 2.7% each. In November 23, Hendry County had the highest unemployment rate at 4.7%, followed by Hamilton County at 4.6% and Citrus County at 4.5%. The unemployment rate of 2.9% in November 2023 represented 324,000 jobless individuals out of a labor force of 11,190,000. Total employment increased by 11,000, or 0.1% in November, while unemployment increased by 6,000, or 1.9%. Florida's labor force of 11,190,000, which is composed of all currently employed workers as well as unemployed job seekers who are actively looking for work, increased by 17,000, or 0.2% from the month prior. And here we see the over-the-year percent change in the labor force in Florida, shown in blue, compared to the United States, shown in green. As of November 2023, Florida's labor force has grown by 3.2% over the year. This is faster than the national labor force growth rate of 2.3% over the same time period. Florida's over-the-year labor force growth has outpaced the national growth rate since June 2021. Job creation data for Florida is derived from the Current Employment Statistics, or CES survey, conducted by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The CES survey collects data from over 40,000 Florida businesses and establishments each month to measure jobs by industry across the state. Since these statistics are based on a survey of employers, they capture information about jobs as opposed to individuals and capture characteristics of employers such as industry and place. Total non-agricultural employment in Florida rose to 9,848,000 jobs in November of 2023, up 30,900 jobs, or 0.3% from the month prior. This figure is up 266,300 jobs from 1 year ago, which is an over-the-year increase of 2.8%. Florida's private sector employment was 8,724,700 jobs in November of 2023, up 28,300 jobs, or 0.3% from the prior month. Total in private employment was up 241,800 jobs from November of 2022, an over-the-year increase of 2.9%. 8 of the 10 major industry sectors in Florida gained jobs over the month in November. Education and health services gained the most jobs over the month, increasing by 11,800, or 0.8%, followed by construction, increasing by 6,300 jobs, or 1%. and leisure and hospitality adding 5,800 jobs, or 0.4%. November marks the 6th consecutive month of job growth in the construction sector after a series of job losses earlier in the year. Trade, transportation, and utilities lost the most jobs over the month, declining by 700 jobs, followed by professional business services declining by 300 jobs, each of which is a change of less than 0.1%. Here we see the over-the-year change in employment by industry supersector between November 2022 and November 2023. In Florida, shown in blue, compared to the United States, shown in green. The fastest growing Florida industries over the past year were education and health services at 6.6%, followed by trade, transportation, and utilities at 3.0%, and financial activities at 2.9%. 7 major industry sectors outpaced national trends over the past 12 months. The top 3 sectors where Florida outperformed national growth most were trade, transportation, and utilities, education and health services, and financial activities. All industries in Florida, except for information, have added jobs over the year. The map shown here shows seasonally adjusted over-the-month job growth by local metro area in Florida for November 2023. 18 of the 24 metro areas in Florida had over-the-month job gains. The Villages metro area grew at a rate of 1% in November 2023, the fastest job growth among all Florida metro areas, followed by Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, Deerfield Beach metro area at 0.5%, and the Miami, Miami Beach, Kendall, and Deltona, Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach areas at 0.4% each. The metro areas that added the most jobs in November were the Miami, Miami Beach, Kendall metro area, adding 5,700 jobs, the Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, Deerfield area, adding 4,800 jobs, and the Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford area, adding 4,500 jobs. The areas that lost jobs in November were the Punta Gordas and Sebastian Vero Beach areas, losing 400 jobs each, the Gainesville area losing 200 jobs, and the Crestview, Fort Walton Beach, Destin area losing 100 jobs. And here we see the most recent job opening and labor turnover survey data for Florida. Please note that this slide reflects information for October 2023, which is the latest information available. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the number of job openings shown here in blue decreased to 574,000 in October 2023, an over-the-month decrease of 32,000 or 5.3%. However, this is up 0.9% from 1 year ago. There were 269,000 quits shown here in gray in October 2023, an over-the-month decrease of 14,000 or 4.9%, and down 11.2% from 1 year ago. And there were 391,000 hires shown here in green in October 2023, an over-the-month decrease of 36,000 or 8.4%, although this is up 4.0% from 1 year ago. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning for the FloridaCommerce rate release for November 2023. This concludes the presentation. I'll happily field any questions from credentialed media.
We have a question here from Tom Urban. Why do we continue to see Florida outpacing the nation on job growth?
Tom, thank you for your question. That is a good question. I think one of the biggest reasons we see continued job growth in Florida that outpaces the nation is Florida has been leading the nation in new business formations really since 2019. And in each year since 2019, there have been more new business formations in Florida than in any other state. We think that's a huge factor in contributing to increased demand for labor that we've seen in the state, and that's naturally going to lead to more businesses, will lead to more jobs and more opportunities for Floridians. And then specifically, you asked about the construction and leisure and hospitality sectors continuing to see increases. Is that a good sign for the state? I think yes. The answer to that question is yes. So the construction sector is one that we saw that was kind of disproportionately impacted by interest rate increases earlier in the year. Over the back half of the year, however, we've seen that industry rebound quite a good bit. I think this is 6 consecutive months of job growth in that sector, and that's a sector that we really look at as an indicator of aggregate demand in the state. As more people have more resources and are able to, and get more employment and wage increases, they're able to afford new homes and pay for new projects. That's what we see with the construction sector there. And with leisure and hospitality, that's another really good indicator of aggregate demand in the state for services like restaurants and accommodations, which is really where we see a lot of that activity in the state in November. Thank you.
Awesome. Seeing no more questions, thank you again for joining us today for the November 2023 rate release. If you have any additional questions, please email media@commerce.fl.gov. We look forward to having you for our next rate release for December 2023 statistics on January 19th, 2024. Thank you and enjoy your weekend.